International Chamber Orchestra performed at one of the oldest theaters in Puerto Rico, Teatro Tapia, in the heart of Old San Juan. Professional musicians of all over the world, locals and young students, joining in powerful performances.
In one of the most iconic and prestigious theaters of Old San Juan, Teatro Tapia, the International Chamber Orchestra of Puerto Rico presented a powerful and memorable performance.
We had an absolutely magnificent experience at the Condado Vanderbilt VC Lounge. The energy of the audience was so powerful, and the sound in the room was absolutely brilliant. We then had a really exciting, it was almost like a rock concert environment at the Distrito T-Mobile. It was full of light effects, screens that had amazing art in combination with shots of the orchestra, and the audience was just enjoying their time there while they could have a drink at the same time that they're enjoying the music. It was just really such an amazing environment and opportunity for all of us to share in a very, very unique and completely different setting. And then the complete contrast. We had a concert at the Teatro Tapia, which is the oldest working theater in the Americas. It opens its doors in 1832, and to this day, come rain, as we experienced at the concert, people still want to be here because it's just such a beautiful, absolutely spectacular theater. It's almost like being in a European country all of a sudden, but you are in the amazing 500-year-old city of Old San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Well, I feel like we've been very warmly received. The audiences have been lovely, and we always play in interesting new venues. I've had the pleasure with Emilio and Cara of recording videos in various locations, discovering fantastic places in the island. The Vanderbilt, of course, is a beautiful setting. This theater here is absolutely gorgeous. So it's a great adventure to discover all of these places.
Professional musicians and young students from more than 12 countries around the world like Spain, Belgium, and Canada, and 11 local musicians are part of this series of concerts. For more information about the dates, visit the social media of the International Chamber Orchestra. From Old San Juan, Puerto Rico, Frances Felix.
All right, thanks so much, Francis, for that report. Well, meantime, we have some scary video to bring you from a Coast Guard rescue. Check this out. You can see the crew slowly working to get down to that boat below, where a 51-year-old fisherman was waiting to be rescued after a shark bit his arm on Monday. Now, luckily, someone on that boat with him was able to bandage him up until help could arrive. The Coast Guard hoisted him into their helicopter near Bimini, Bahamas, and then flew him to an area hospital. And switching gears now, Guyana's health minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, is condemning religious and other leaders for creating COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy and spreading misinformation. The health minister on Monday, during his daily COVID update, urged Guyanese, especially those in hinterland communities, to get vaccinated against the virus, despite the misinformation they have been receiving. Now, he said those leaders who are peddling this type of information are not doing their communities a good service, and they are putting them at risk. Dr. Anthony said as a result, the government is planning to place at least 2 health workers at health centers in all communities.
We have seen that it's not in the whole region. There are pockets in the region. So in places like Region 8 and so forth, there are specific communities, and that is because some of the leaders in the community, it might be a mixture of the Tushao, or sometimes in other cases you might have religious leaders who are peddling this type of misinformation. So they are not doing their community a good service. They're actually putting their community at risk. And we will really want to encourage them to desist from doing this. Most of them, I would say the majority of them, they are not even competent to speak on these matters. They have no health background. They don't even understand how a vaccine works. But they spread misinformation. And because they have an audience in these villages, people tend to believe them.
Now, the health minister said as a result of the misinformation being peddled by religious leaders, vaccines have gone to waste. He explained that once the vaccines are removed from cold storage, they must be utilized.
So once we bring it out from the -80, we have to put it in -20, then we move it down, and we are able to administer it at room temperature. But once we start doing that, there's no going back. You can't refreeze it. And that's why when we take it out into the community, if there's a community of 100 people, we are anticipating, let's say, 50 vaccinations, then when you go there, and if the people are not going to take the vaccines for whatever reason, then we either have to go to another place and give it, or if not, a lot of those vaccines would have to be discarded.
And meantime, it took 3 years, but the world's largest cruise ship is finally ready to welcome all passengers aboard. And its first stops will be in the Caribbean. Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas will leave for Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to the Caribbean for its maiden voyage next month. It'll make several stops, including Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the Bahamas. The nearly 1,200-foot ship can hold over 6,900 guests and 2,300 crew members. They will get to enjoy 18 decks that feature activities like a 10-deck high zip line, a poolside movie screen, and what is known as the tallest slide at sea. The voyage from Florida begins on March 4th. The ship will then head to Barcelona and Rome for the launch of its Western Mediterranean cruises in May. In the meantime, a couple of guys are traveling the Caribbean in a very unique way. Our One Caribbean News' Deandra Hamilton actually caught up with the duo as they made a stop in the Turks and Caicos. She brings us the story of their travels.
A venture capitalist from Atlanta and a management consultant from Denver took some time off to travel the Atlantic Ocean through the Caribbean region. But their holiday in the islands was far from traditional.
24 feet long, about 5 feet wide. It can carry probably about 100 days worth of food. It makes its own water. It's got solar panels for electricity and charging, phones and batteries and everything. And it's meant for rowing oceans.
The duo was not lounged on a luxurious beach under a tropical sun. They were battling gusting winds, ice-cold showers, mischievous current, and the journey tested their physical grit as they paddled over 700 miles from Antigua to Providenciales.
Definitely had some challenging conditions along the way, some pretty decent storms that we had to kind of work through. But overall, amazing experience. Always kind of look back at it and think about the good moments as well as the tough ones. Amazing sunrises and sunsets, wildlife that we saw along the way, and good friendship. So it's been amazing.
As you can hear, the journey was grueling. It was supposed to bring them back home to the United States, but after 18 days, which included being rescued from a small key, slipping into the Turks and Caicos was not only a welcomed alternative, but a smart change of plans.
Pretty tricky. There are a few times at night, especially when we were going past some of the islands along the way. If you're out in the open ocean, you can get big weather and everything, but there's nothing to crash into. And so I think for me, at night when we were passing islands where you couldn't really quite see how close you were to land or anything like that, was the bit that is maybe most nerve-wracking.
Both men were tested for COVID-19 and welcomed to the island with comforters from Boogaloo's Conch Roll and ice-cold water. Also big on their wish list, a shower. DeAndre Hamilton reporting.